Now listen, if we need to make America great again, we've got to destroy this wall. There. America has been made great again.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Korok's Corner. I'm your host, Cord, aka Korok. Today's subject that we're going to talk about is video games and their impact on society and on the common mental well-being of the people that play them. Now, I'm a father of 3 boys, and video games is a very essential part in our family. We play video games together as a family. My children play them separately, but I always have a firm grasp of the games that they are playing. If there is a question of notability of whether a game is not good enough for my children, that's the reason why there are, these ratings on the front cover. A lot of people, bitch and complain that video games are violent and video games give the wrong suggestive ideology of society. But you also have to remember there are always 2 sides to every coin. It is the parent's responsibility, not the child's, to make sure that the games that they are playing are the games that you want them to play and give them the best atmosphere to understand what they're playing versus what's in real life and the things that they take out of video games that they subject to real life interactions. Okay? There are plenty of pros and cons to many video games out there, and we could debate this to the end of time, whether it's the manufacturer's fault, the parent's fault, the child's fault, or any said person's fault. Okay? This is always going to be a bitch debate back and forth. It's never going to cease. There are people out there that, try to create a living blogging stuff about video games that have not even played video games hardly in their entire lifetime. They see a negative influence within a video game and then they go after it like piranha and tear it apart and make a big deal out of it just for their own popularity and their own sponsorships. Okay? I'm not going to name names per se, but I'm going to show you a few videos of some people that have extremely gone beyond the call when it comes to demoralizing the ethical responsibilities of the said user that plays the video games. I am an RPGer. I play role-playing games with a magical, finite land of D&D, okay? Now, per se, if the church doesn't like D&D games because it practices magic and lore of demons and vampires and things like this. For just as an example, they could deem RPG games as immoral in existence, that it is not proper to teach children about magic or about casting spells or about lore of other planes of existence. That is another topic for another discussion, but it falls on the guidelines of what I'm trying to communicate here. It's like when Harry Potter came out on, in book form. It had a tremendous social interaction because it grasped the child's mind and opened it up to possibilities beyond what they were taught. And it got children involved in reading about, about a world of wizardry and magic and about a story of good and evil, all right? Bypassing the moral implications of what the books tried to install, people attacked it simply because it went against their moral center, their grain of understanding of what reality is. Okay? If you are a parent and you are interactive within your child's life, you are there to guide them, to teach them, to try to make them understand what is real and what is not real, okay? I never, ever try to force religion upon my children. I believe it is their right to choose what religion they are going to be in life. That is one thing that I am firmly solid on, is that even though I am a practicing white male witch, I do not instill or enforce my beliefs onto my children. If they are wanting to learn or they're wanting to understand, I will always be there to guide them and to tell them and to make them understand what religion their father is and how he practices it. Okay? Now, I understand that I'm not attacking the church here. I'm not attacking any religion in any form or way. But I'm saying that video games are the other side of the coin. Whether it is demoralizing or whether or not it is a reinforcement factor, video games provide a social content of stress relief. They also help people. They're therapeutic. And it depends on the type of video game that you enjoy to play. If you play a video game in the right concept, then it is fine. But if you're just playing a video game to beat women or to be a sexist pig or just screw around and portray what society actually should be, then you need therapy, okay? There are people out there, like I said before, that have taken advantage of the mainstream media, stolen clips from people on YouTube, and basically slapped them together, cut and paste into different sequences, and then did audio over top of it, okay? And they have their own blogs, and they make a tremendous amount of money from donations and from endorsement deals, taking advantage of the said gamers themselves. And I'll have a few pictures of a few of them that are out in the media right now that are exploiting video games for their own greed, okay, and their own political viewpoints of how society should be changed. Psychologically, if you break it down, video games, whether their content may be good or bad, are a reflection of society and reality in real life. Okay? A lot of the video game industries try to make video games as realistic as possible, and they draw a lot of aspects of reality into the video game to subdue the player, to make them feel comfortable, to make them understand, you know, how they're about to go about taking care and completing certain tasks. This is the goal of very many video game companies, and this should be the goal of a lot of them. In fact, it is. But the point is how you play the video game and what you perceive is what is important, okay? A lot of video games are very violent in nature, and like Call of Duty or games like Fear or Left 4 Dead, very violent games using guns to mow down people and putting it in a setting that is a challenge, okay? Now, obviously, if you are a level-headed human being and you know the difference between right and wrong and you play a video game, that's perfectly fine. You understand the limitations of what is fiction versus what is reality. Okay? A lot of people play video games to enjoy themselves as a form of stress relief. Okay? I do it to relax. I play video games alongside my children, like I said earlier before. I play video games solely on my own. I find it therapeutic because it is a stress relief for me, whether it be RPG or whether it be first-person shooter. Now, I have both game genres, FPS and RPGs, CGRPs, all down the line. Even like Batman Arkham City, I have a PlayStation 4. I have a lot of video game consoles. I have a lot of games. I play them. I play them in moderation. Some games are fun. Some games are boring. Some games have graphic content that are not suitable for children. Okay? And it is the responsibility of a parent, even if you are an adult and you play video games, okay, and you buy a video game that has content that is questionable in society in general, whether it be mistreating of women, um, cold calculated murder, straight through the wire, okay? If you play the game to relax and know the difference between the the timeline within the story of the game is not what is in reality, then you're fine. We have a very skewed picture of reality as a concept, as a society, whether we be from the Americas or any other country. Part of the problem is that we have too many trolls, too many critics, too many people that go out of their way to point out the bad implications within a game, okay? And instead of getting off their fat, overpaid, lazy asses and actually interacting with society and trying to help society become better than trying to force a video game company to make its game better, we'd be living in a better world, okay? Plain and simple. Video games are not real. They are not a reflection of society. They are a fictional set storyline set to entertain and to keep the user bewildered. Okay? Donkey Kong, Mario, through Nintendo, etc. These games are for entertainment purposes only. Do I believe that Mario is real? Do I believe that Mario has to go to a castle and find his princess? You know, he's a hero trying to save the woman that he loves. Versus Zelda. You know, Link tries to go out and save Zelda, who keeps getting kidnapped every few hundred years or so. Okay, these are games that we know to be fictional. They have no bearing in real life. But we do have realistic games like from Rockstar Games, Grand Theft Auto series, games like these that portray society as it is in certain areas. Not necessarily saying that society recognizes those demoralizing issues, but these games are meant to entertain. If you are a responsible person and you are a father or a mother and you go out of your way to make sure your children have video games to play, if you buy your 9-year-old son Grand Theft Auto and just let him be with it and walk away, then you're letting the video game teach your child what society is. You do not give them a foundation, a buffer of what's real and what is not real. You are not there to answer their questions. You are not there to help guide them through ascensions from being a child into adulthood. Now, I'm not trying to ramble here. I'm trying to make a very succinct point, okay? The responsibilities of every person in this world is to understand what is reality and what is not. If you go into context and you go into a video game like Hitman and you slap a few of the dancers around, does that make you an immoral person? Some feminists would say so. But you have to understand something. It's not the object of the game of Hitman, per se as an example, to batter women. The whole object of the game is to be stealthed, okay? And to do your job as a hitman. Kill your target. Nintendo, for example, has had like GoldenEye and James Bond with much more violent tendencies than Hitman. Okay? Hitman is just a more visual, graphic representation of a realistic reality that is not part of reality. It's a game reality. And we have people out there that just go out of their way to bash these game companies for trying to provide a realistic environment, close to as possible in real life, for the end user to enjoy themselves. Okay? We can sit here, like I said before, and debate this till the cows come home or the Messiah comes back to earth, okay? Part of what is subjective is understanding and teaching. Video games are not meant to be instructive. They are meant to be entertainment. They do provide certain aspects of hand-eye coordination and solving logic puzzles. This is inherent in large majority, over 87 or so percent. And I'm pulling that number out of my ass, but it's an example that they teach you how to solve puzzles and entertain you. If you come home every day from a hard day's work, you watch TV with your family, okay? When your family goes to bed, you have a few hours like me. I play video games. I also try to make videos on YouTube. It's not my purpose on YouTube to make money. No, my purpose on YouTube is to express my opinion. We have, just per se, I'm not trying to be an asshole to anybody out there, but take the feminists, for example, okay? There are some feminists out there that really are legitimately upset if a woman is able to be beat up in a video game. I recognize that. But there are video games that men get beat up too. Men get shot more often than women. Okay? But we have a responsibility as the end line user that purchases these games to instruct the content of whether or not, or teach the moral implications that this is not what society is. Though in many aspects it's a damn close proximity to the real thing, but it's not. It's a fake facsimile. There are like Rockstar games out there, the Grand Theft Auto series, okay? You got guns, you got drugs, you got women, you got hookers, you got time trials, things like this. I honestly, in my own opinion, I could never get into those games because that's not the person that I am. I'm not a crook. I don't want to, like, the type of person that I am is I don't want to heroize criminal activity. There's no fame, no fortune, and it degrades society in ways that, as far as I know, are incalculable, okay? But there are people that enjoy them, and I allow them their own opinion and allow you to play, and I don't bitch or complain because I'm not a troll. I try to respect people, but there are people out there that will not respect you as a gamer. There are people out there that will not be subjected to your viewpoint, and they will try to ridicule you, and they will try to knock you down every moment that they can. There are trolls out there that will literally get as much information from you as possible, just call your work area, try to create problems. These people are the degradations on society. These are the people that are the dregs of humanity. These are the people that take something as simple as entertainment and twist it into something that is immoral or, how would you say, reality questionable, okay? It's just a video game. We have too much issues in our own society to worry about whether or not a video game is good or bad. If you, like I said, if you are a parent and you have children like I do, I'm in control of what games they play. They may come to me with a magazine with a game in it. I'll look at it. If I see no harm in it, fine, I'll get it for them. But like my oldest son, who's 13, if he sees something that is a little bit mature, I'll buy it, but I'll also play with him with it. I'll be there for any questions that he may have. And I'll try to always install into my children respect for the individual, respect for others. For what they play in video games is not necessarily how they are to live their lives in reality. That is the commitment, the understanding that I have as a father. And it should be yours too, but it's not my choice to judge you. Okay? I will never try to judge you. Because if I judged everybody would be in prison. That's a joke. But you understand my point. Okay? Now, I'm not trying to ramble. I understand that you got things to do. I'll try to make this video as short as possible. But I want to give you a clear idea of the fundamentals of what a video game, responsibilities of playing a video game are. Knowing the content that you share with your children. Now, if you're an adult and you buy a game, fine, have fun. But remember, it's just a video game. It's not meant to be reality. And like I told you before, there are aspects in a video game that are as close to reality as you can get. But you're an adult. You're a grown person, unless you're a child. And if you're a child, you shouldn't be playing those games, those questionable games in the first place. And any store that sells them to an underage person should be held accountable. But any game that crosses the threshold of my home, my wife and I have the final say. As should you. Your video games are yours to play and enjoy. Not everybody's going to have the same tastes as you or I. We're all going to have a different variety that entertains us. And it's by that variety that makes video games enjoyable. Video games are not the problems of society. Video games are not the root of the problems with our children. Video games do not teach violence to children. If a child is playing a video game that has violence in it, where's the parent? Why is not the parent talking to the children, playing the game with the children, and trying to make them understand it's a game? That you don't treat people like you do in a video game. It falls down to that basic premise. Simple and straight to the point. There are people out there that will bitch that to the end of time. Well, frankly, I don't care. Because they're not responsible people, because they've got nothing better to do than fucking troll a game. Or to troll the video game industry. Okay? There are people who say, well, there's a problem in video games, and we'll need to fix it. You know what? No, you don't. Let the video game companies do their job. They've been doing their job for over 25 years. Or more than that, actually. Video games have come a long way in the last couple of decades that we've been exposed to them. And video games keep on getting better. And every few years we get a new game console with even better games and better graphics. Technology changes. Video games will change. But video games are not the nexus of the problems in the world. That's my bitch. I am tired of hearing people saying video games are the core problem of, of mistreatment of women and the demoralization of our society. Bullpucky. Straight and simple. Knowledge, education, and common sense will dismiss any of their quotes or pillages down to zero, to literally nothing. I'm Karak Xavier, and I would like to remind you, take care of each other, be kind to each other, and live. Thank you.